Let's bring in retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Mark Kimmett. He's the former Assistant Secretary of State for Political and Military Affairs under President George W. Bush. All right, General, Vladimir Putin is not known for putting up with a lot, especially someone as belligerent as Prigozhin. So why is he tolerating this?
Well, I think you've got to go back to the fall of the Soviet Union, the time between Yeltsin and Putin. During that time, the country was the wild, wild west, and that was the rise of the oligarchs as they tried to privatize the entire industry's industrial base inside of Russia. Prigozhin was one of those that took advantage of this. I mean, Prigozhin is a former hot dog salesman from Leningrad. But he, like so many of the other oligarchs, made billions of dollars. And candidly, when Putin came to power, there's this reciprocal relationship between the oligarchs and Putin, and Prigozhin is one of them.
But why does he continue to put up with it now?
Well, first of all, he is in the debt to Prigozhin. But look, we've seen this in America. We've seen the rise of a nationalist right-wing person who's appealing to the people on the ground. In many ways, he shares the same characteristics as Trump. Very, very belligerent, very, very loud, goes directly to the people. I think Putin, number one, gets a lot out of Prigozhin by his mercenary army that's doing far, far better than the Russian military. And number two, I think Putin sees him as a potential political candidate against him in the near future. And that goes to the old saying, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer.
That's a good explanation. Ukraine's President Zelensky, of course, saying his forces are ready to begin their counteroffensive. I want to take you to have a listen to what U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told our colleague Fareed Zakaria just a short time ago.
Jake, when you think about the Ukrainian counteroffensive, what are you looking for to see that, in fact, the massive investments the United States has made in helping Ukraine are paying off?
Well, first, this is not an exam. We're not grading Ukraine's counteroffensive and saying, you did well based on what we gave you, or you did poorly. What we want to do is support Ukraine to make as much progress as possible on the battlefield so that it is in the strongest possible position at the negotiating table. And we do believe that this counteroffensive will allow Ukraine to take strategically significant territory back from Russia, areas occupied by Russia that are rightfully sovereign Ukrainian territory.
So does Ukraine have enough support from the U.S. and other allies to succeed in a counteroffensive?
Well, listen, Paula, in a bit of self-promotion, I wrote about this a month ago in the Wall Street Journal. They need to accomplish certain milestones in this counteroffensive to maintain the support of the United States and the Western nations. They need to decisively defeat the Russians. Jake talked about that, about making significant progress. They've got to reach objectives that prepare them for further counteroffensives. This will not be the last. They need to cut the Crimean corridor. They need to decisively defeat the Russians so that the Russians understand they can't win this war. And they need to accomplish enough to keep the West on side and not seeing this as just more examples of trench warfare.
So what are they waiting for?
Listen, there's always a tension between the politicians and the military. The politicians always want this to start early. The military knows that every day they delay the counteroffensive, they get stronger, they get more supplies, they get more intelligence on the ground. And that tension, I think, is what you're seeing playing out between the politicians and the commanders. The commanders say, no, I need a couple of more days to get ready. The politicians say, we got to get this thing going. So I think Zelensky and his generals are trying to work this out in terms of timelines.
And we've seen how Russian strikes, they've been aimed at Kyiv pretty much every day for the last week. Is Russia trying to wear down Ukraine's air defenses?
No, I think they're trying to wear down the Ukrainian people. This is what's called a spoiling attack on the part of Russia. They know a counteroffensive is coming. So they know they can't stop the military, so they continue to pound the civilians. So the civilians are the ones that say, look, let's end this thing quickly. Let's get this over with. We can't take these kind of bombings. But I think the Ukrainian people have demonstrated, like the British people during the Blitz of 1940, that they're willing to stand behind their military and take the attack on civilian targets so that the military can actually conduct the offensive when and how is necessary.
General Mark Kimmett, thank you.